Donnarumma was fouled by Benzema. Clear foul. Hey. They didn't give it to him.
That's fine.
That's fine. If it involves Real Madrid, it always goes in their favor.
Refereeing problems. We saw Anthony Taylor UEFA final against Roma. Roma fans were complaining because they should have had a penalty. That wasn't Real Madrid.
We all knew that Anthony Taylor hated Jose. He was going to cheat.
But that was
when he was appointed. Roma said it that he's going to cheat.
Hello and welcome to the Mallam podcast. Today is going to be spectacular because we've seen two great games from the UEFA Champions League semi-final. The final is already confirmed. It's going to be Real Madrid at Wembley coming up against Borussia Dortmund. The storylines are plenty. Jude Bellingham will play against his former club. In England, can he do it? I saw some stats somewhere where he said Ronaldo did it in Lisbon, Bale did it in Cardiff, Benzema did it in Paris. Will Bellingham do it in London? Well, standing in their way is Borussia Dortmund. Anyway, I've been joined here by the gang. Coach returns to the show again. No more.
Imbeshi, man. Yeah, no more Imbeshi.
We'll get through to the comments. Many people were asking where you were.
Of course, last week I was very busy.
You were dazed.
No, not dazed. That is it, on the day of the recording of the show. It's something that I couldn't step out of.
Yeah.
I just had to be there. If I was not there, there would be serious problems.
Plenty problems.
Damn, man.
All right, so then there's also Danny Ken. There's two of the guys who were here last week. Big shout outs to Felix Rumaku, was here last week as well. Felix got plenty of people making money. We'll talk about that very soon. But listen, guys, we appreciate you. If it's the first time you are tuning into the Mallam podcast, please, wherever you're listening to us or watching us from, subscribe, drop your comments in our comment sessions, and let us know what you think or your views on what we've discussed. We've got some lovely comments coming through our comment sessions.
Tell me about it.
From last week, guys. This one is Philip Achigogui says that my favorite part of the episode is when Danny K said, get the rot out. Ten Hag, he's toxic, he's a liar, he's a gaslighter. Get him out quick.
See, all these things were said because I was not here. I'm telling you this because if I was here,
you allow him.
What?
Why you close my mouth?
No, but I'll counter.
He's toxic.
He's
a liar.
He's never been.
He's a gaslighter.
He's never been.
He's a gaslighter.
He's never been any of them. He's never been a liar.
He's a liar. Right. This one says Lennox. Oh, Lennox, thank you very much. Says Teacher did great hosting the show. I appreciate that. I tell you what, this team here we are so versatile. Very versatile. Great pandas, great hosts all over. So it's a fantastic team to work with. Rotimi. Yeah, O'Shea. Utility. Everywhere. Utility. So Rotimi Akinyeyi, all the way from Nigeria, I guess, says that thank you for serving us with another great show today. I love watching the podcast because of you guys. Vast knowledge of the round game. It's beautiful. This is coming from Africa. We love this.
Of
course. It's touching.
Nigerian brother.
Yeah.
I'm on Niger.
Salim Rashid also says that, hey, Danny K. Watsi, is the smile during the buying and Real Madrid analysis? You're giving some smiles. It's poor day. This also says that, where is Coach Nimley? How did he see the Bayern Real Madrid semi-final first leg? So he was asking where Coach was. Well, okay, so Yobikoshi says that, Charlie, proper podcast, more fire. Please, can you try and invite Oreku Ampofu too? Oreku is a brother. Just like we brought Felix, we can chip him in. Yeah. So that is very possible. Oreku is a great guy.
In fact, the day we do the Messi versus Ronaldo debate, I want him in this.
Oreku has to be here.
I need him in that.
No, you can't even debate me on that issue. Why do you want to add Oreku to it? You can't debate. Look,
it's okay.
I don't know why the Ronaldo people still want to make that debate a debate.
Will come.
That thing ended though.
We are not trying to make it a debate.
Let's continue.
You are the ones who are trying to
It's okay.
It's ended though. It's ended.
In fact, I should have told you guys that I appreciate all of you from last week. Fenty has been suffering. Last week, you made my job easy. I hope this week you continue for me. Big shout out to Fenty. He'll be joining us at the next couple of episodes here.
He's a fraud.
He's a fraud.
Fenty is a fraud.
I will not sit here and allow you people to denigrate somebody who is not here.
Fenty is a fraud.
Fenty is a fraud.
Fenty went to Nassau.
Fenty already picks a side before we start.
It's not true.
It's true.
It's not true.
Because he's always picking your side.
It's not true.
That's why we're defending him. Because he's always picking your side.
Why I'm calling Fenty a fraud?
Why are you calling him a fraud?
Why is Fenty a fraud?
Fent went to Nassau.
Yeah.
Posted a video of himself. I think Gary L. Smith.
Yeah.
Of the Bahamas beach.
This guy.
And the only thing in the video is a man.
Was Gary? Why did you tell you want to see Gary?
No, but that was proper misbehavior.
We see Gary.
That's improper.
You are in Bahamas.
At the Bahamas.
Bahamas beach.
And you are showing us Gary.
He couldn't see.
What? Shock!
Oh no, Fento, you shock fans.
See.
Okay. Let's give him the benefit. Maybe then.
We
That
should
is
do
what that is what is shown to the public. When it comes to show the brothers the proper thing.
Okay.
Fento,
If so,
I'm rescuing you. I'm
so
giving
he
you a
should come and
lifeline.
redeem himself.
Come and show the brothers the proper
Yes.
thing. This one is for social media, it's fair. Brothers are brothers.
We have to
Anyway,
see.
this one,
Yes.
I love all the comments coming. This one says that this the boy Vela. Great podcast. What 3 episodes so far? Love from Zambia.
Oh, Charlie.
All the way from Zambia.
But this is good.
We
This is
appreciate it.
good.
We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Brilliant.
And you know, I think this is even more profound for me because when we had a lot of the interest from the continent during the
AFCON, yeah.
Yeah,
and the African games, you could understand because there was African content we were discussing.
that's it.
But this is not something you can say they go out looking for because their country or their players
Yeah.
I involved
are
in.
involved in it. So
Maybe
Charlie,
you guys left a good impression on them on the AFCON, so they stuck with you.
So
So
we
kudos,
appreciate it.
kudos to all of you, man.
Mallam Go Podcast is international.
Kudos to- okay, this one says that you guys are too good. Then you remember some guy who asked the question about the cap?
Yeah.
So that is Emmanuel Annan.
Mm.
Yes, I was the one who talked about the cap color change. Mention my name, please. There you have it. Thank you very much. You're incredibly observant. Very observant. Okay, so this one says, I'll always tell my wife, forget about the DP. I'm using her YouTube account. That far from the deep, steep analysis of the sports. I even listened to the podcast to add up to my lexical thesaurus. You guys are super intelligent. It's just so fascinating listening to you. I love Coach Nimne's facial expressions when he's making his submission. Listen, if you get into the comments, it will be another episode. We appreciate all the comments that you guys have been sending. Please keep them coming. We appreciate it. We will keep improving, we'll keep serving you. We'll continue to be honest, but we also expect you to be honest with us. That's why I always say, get into the comment sections and cook.
Yeah.
And cook.
When we say something, if coach says that you agree, cook. You know, cook. Anyway, so this is the episode 4, the UEFA Champions League semi-final second leg review. We're going to start straight away from the biggest game of the tie because Danny K is here and is waiting for that moment. Remember that it was 2-2 when Bayern Munich hosted Real Madrid at the Allianz Arena. But in Spain, Bayern took the lead, but Joselu from the bench sent Real Madrid through to the final to Wembley. Danny K, let me start off with you.
Charlie.
Your Danny K is the reason why we mounted this board. It's not usually part of the set, but it will be frequent a lot more now.
Mm.
But then you saw many things that the board can help us explain. Take us through it straight away.
Yeah. So, Charlie, how the players are positioned now is basically Real Madrid.
Meanwhile,
Uh-huh.
please, while you use the board, for the purposes of those who be listening on the podcast, the audio,
I should add
please,
more description.
thank you very much for the understanding.
I understand. my brother. I understand. Check it to the downstairs. Charlie, so what we are seeing is Real Madrid's attacking. That's the attacking shape, and then Bayern Munich's defensive shape. So basically, Bayern were defending a 4-4-2.
So who's Bayern? Who is Real?
So
Which color?
Bayern is in red.
Red.
Bayern
Okay.
is in red. We
Alright.
don't have white, so
Yeah.
we are using lime green for Real Madrid. So Bayern is in the red, and they were defending a 4-4-2. That was their defensive shape. Now, the interesting thing is that when the game started, Bayern were not necessarily applying a press from the off.
Yeah.
They allowed Real Madrid to build from the back. And what they were doing was to block the passing lanes to Tchouaméni and then Toni Kroos. But Ancelotti did something really quickly from the start. First couple of build-ups, Real Madrid were struggling to find Kroos and then Tchouaméni in behind Musiala and Harry Kane, who were the first two, at the first line of press for the Bayern Munich team. So what he did was to drop Toni Kroos. So Toni Kroos comes in like this, and then Mendy offers with Carvajal, as we know, offers with Rudiger and Nacho spread out a bit. So Kroos was playing sort of like a left center back from build-up for Real Madrid. Now, because Bayern Munich were not applying a press, Kroos had a lot of time on the ball. And that's, for me, was a sort of a mistake that Bayern Munich made. But in doing that, it allowed him to basically dictate the game. And what he did together with Real Madrid was to sort of force overloads on the left-hand side. And we've seen it so many times this season.
Why is Madrid everybody playing on the left? Everybody.
Everybody.
Even Lunin wants to go and play there.
Charlie. And the funny thing is that it's working.
Yeah.
Like they are in sync and it's working. So Bayern basically struggled. Once Toni Kroos is controlling possession, he's controlling tempo, he's dictating play. It was extremely difficult for them. But some way through, I think a couple of minutes, let me see, 10, 15 minutes into Toni Kroos dictating play, Thomas Tuchel also made a switch. Now, what he did was to move Leroy Sané onto Toni Kroos to try and shadow him, not necessarily apply full pressure on him, but shadow him and try and
sort of block his view.
But I don't think Sané did too much of a good job. Now, what happened was, so Sané moves from his, let me see, right
4-4-2 block defensive. So it became a 4-3-3.
It becomes a 4-3-3, but there's a lot of open space on the left-hand side for Mendy.
Right.
But Bayern Munich didn't seem to care because Mendy offensively doesn't really offer a threat. So that was okay for them. And you could tell, even when Mendy was free, Kroos was not necessarily playing the ball into him. So what we saw was...
I remember a sequence where Vinny had the opportunity of finding Mendy.
And he didn't.
Once he really said the sorry was Mendy, he kept the ball to himself.
He said, going forward, he doesn't offer anything. And you see, what really interests me about Real Madrid is their space interpretation and the understanding of the players. How they occupy zones, multiple players, but yet still they're able to find themselves. You see, it's the understanding. They do it and they don't... It's like they don't.
It's fluid.
It's fluid, and their shape is not broken by it. It's not like they are doing it throughout the game. They know the exact moments to pick to be able to do that. So Sané is now sort of shadow marking Toni Kroos. He's not really doing his job well. He's not supposed to apply full pressure, but he's supposed to block a passing lane, which he's not necessarily doing, at least in my opinion. So what we saw is Tchouaméni, Valverde a bit free in the middle, but they were still not necessarily options. You would see Vinicius Jr. coming onto the legs, Bellingham, and even Rodrigo would at times come onto the left-hand side. Now, what it automatically does was it moved the Bayern Munich defensive line towards the left-hand side. And what did it do? It created space for Carvajal. Then you see a switch, Real Madrid going from Kroos.
Yeah, that explains it there because Carvajal saw a lot of the ball high up the pitch and Kroos was pinning him.
So that was basically it. And the beautiful thing about this is once Kroos switches, Rodrigo vacates that left half space and all of a sudden becomes a number 9. Attacking the box. And we saw it a couple of occasions. Carvajal gets in the cross. First one, I think Rodrigo he just missed it. Another one went in and it was Rodrigo who was almost at the end of it again. So that was sort of what Real Madrid were trying to do at that point. And for me, it was working. In the first half, it was working. But what he also meant was because of the spaces that Mendy and Carvajal were leaving in behind, Bayern Munich, and this is where Harry Kane was very key. Harry Kane drops deep. He's number 9, so let me use this. Harry Kane drops deep. And for me, I think his main job in the game was his playmaking ability. So you see Harry Kane dropping deep. When Bayern Munich break, you see Leroy Sané, and then Gnabry later on, it was Alphonso Davies, making those runs to try and vacate the space and occupy the space that has been vacated by both Mendy and then Carvajal. In the first half, it happened a couple of times. There was one where Harry Kane almost found Leroy Sané, who took a fantastic interception by Toni Kroos, who was alert. The second time, the ball got into Gnabry, and then he scuffed a shot across the face of goal. But Bayern were not getting too many of those opportunities. And defensively also, they were a bit open because Madrid were carving out those opportunities. First half, draw them to the left-hand side, swing it to the right. Carvajal gets in crosses. Carvajal has tons of space on the right-hand side. Now, in the second half, Madrid did something very significant. And Carlo Ancelotti did something...
People say he's not tactical, he's lucky.
Charlie.
But from what you have described, you explained a lot of tactics. And anybody who saw the game then, maybe then if you see the game again, you're looking at the things that he's saying and how he's playing out, how Kroos dropped, how Mendy and Carvajal were high. And
even before Danny goes to the second half and what Ancelotti did, what he's explained sort of in a way highlights the squad limitations or the profile limitations that Thomas Tuchel has to work with. If, for example, in a game that requires, or as the game progresses, he realizes the need to put on an extra man, right, who comes up a bit short, but is, in terms of orientation and education, more natural in terms of his capacity to play that midfield role. So what it would mean, that sixth sense to block the spaces, to block the angles, will come to him naturally, as opposed to what Sane will do in that position, right? So if Tuchel had maybe an extra midfielder on the bench, a high-quality midfielder, and not Goretzka, who's short on confidence.
Would you risk pushing, and Coach can chip in here, would you risk, in what Danny has explained, and I agree with Danny, because I think while he speaks it, I said, would you risk pushing a central midfielder that high to deal with Toni Kroos, who was sitting almost as a third centre back?
Not necessarily push him that high,
right?
But just having an extra midfielder in the middle of the park. That means that they don't have to exert too much. Look, a lot of the spaces that Madrid were able to carve out were not necessarily because Bayern couldn't figure out how to stop them. Sometimes it was just a case of the boys being leggy, right? Within a period of 45 to 60 seconds, and Madrid were doing this, they were being very repetitive in those patterns. So you could see they attempt something on that left side. The same combinations with Jude Bellingham coming up short. When they lose the ball, Bellingham trying to maintain the balance on that side. And we'll come to that a bit later, because I suspect if Kylian Mbappe joins, or when he joins, because it's only a matter of time, that what we saw yesterday may be something we'll see very often with Bellingham. But I'm just saying that if you had a more natural midfielder in that position, perhaps they help out with the defensive work a bit more and offer different problems for Madrid. You don't get that many runners in and into the spaces. And the frequency with which they found those spaces, for me, was too much, especially in the first half.
Let me just add a little.
Yeah, please, before Danny continues.
I think what Leroy Sané didn't do to help the situation was the fact that he didn't take care of the ball very, very well. There were 3-4 occasions. Bayern, in fact, truth be told, by Thomas Tuchel asking Leroy Sané to go and more or less shadow Toni Kroos. Yeah. Anytime Bayern won the ball,
he had numbers high up.
He was in behind him.
Was there. Yeah.
And on 3 occasions, the ball was given to him. He actually hesitated on the final ball.
Yeah. I watched the game with Danny, and there was a sequence where the ball was played to Leroy Sané, beat his man. He has an opportunity to cross.
I'm not sure what
he was trying to do.
Yeah. So you see, in terms of on the pitch, I don't think Thomas Tuchel could have asked any other player
to do that.
Yeah. But Leroy Sané,
for the players he had available. Because of the fact that, look, truth be told, Toni Kroos is not a good defender. He's not a good ball winner. Yeah.
He's a controller. Yeah. He doesn't win balls. So if you are a Thomas Tuchel and you are getting one of your very skillful and pacey players
up against him,
you do. I will repeat that over and over again.
Yeah.
Provided that Leroy Sané
had an off day.
He had an off day.
He chose
that was why.
Long day to have an off day.
That was why the thing more or less favored Real Madrid more. But if he was on his A game, or if he had repeated anything closer to what he did in the second half of the first leg, Real Madrid wouldn't have. Look, and after doing it 1-2, and they themselves realized that was dangerous, they would have stopped it.
Yeah. Look, and you see,
okay, so Danny, over to you now.
If you remember in last week's episode, I spoke about Thomas Tuchel and the fact that I trusted that he will be able to bring up the perfect game plan. But the application is where I had a problem with.
Yeah, so that comes down to the players.
Will the players be able to execute it 100%? That was where I had my issues. But there was a very significant thing that happened in the second half. Now, remember I told you when Kroos drops, Leroy Sané comes on him, Mendy is free up here. What Carlo Ancelotti did in the second half, which was for me was brilliant, was to switch Vinicius Jr. and Mendy. So Mendy now tucks in. Vinicius Jr. is now the free wide man. And this time, just by switching the position of 2 players, there's danger. Yeah. So in the second half, Leroy Sané is still trying to shadow block Toni Kroos. But Toni Kroos constantly has that option of getting the ball into Vinicius Jr. And once Vinicius Jr. had the ball, now it's a combination of 2 things. Once Vinicius had that Vinicius Jr. had the ball on that left wing, the reason why he had several one-on-one opportunities against Kimmich was because of the space interpretation. The positioning of Mendy and Bellingham in the middle of that left half space. And that's, for me, when you talk about presence of players, you see, a couple of episodes ago, I was talking about you don't necessarily always judge a player by what he's doing on the ball because they hardly have time on the ball. If you look at the average time a player spends on the ball, basically like 2 or 3 minutes of the whole 90 minutes. So what they are doing off the ball is also very important. I would agree on the ball, Bellingham was terrible. But the presence of Bellingham in these situations wouldn't allow Konrad Laimer and Co to shift and come and help. It happened a couple of times. And immediately it stopped. Tuchel was more willing to allow Vinicius Jr. to run at Kimmich.
Trusting Kimmich could do something. Or if he couldn't, when Vinicius Jr. reaches the edge of the box, then Laimer Dems can come in to help. But Laimer doesn't, from the start, go there to go and double team. Because if he goes there like this, then there are 2 free men in the half space that can cause damage to you. So that's why we consistently saw that. Now, Vinicius Jr. was also brilliant. Look, man, let's spend some 2 minutes on Vinicius Jr.
Charlie,
in the game, coach. Look, he was unplayable. And to be fair to me, for Coach Ikam, in the first leg, his role in his assignment was different, and he excelled. Then in the second leg, in the first half, his role in his assignment is different. He plays his part. But for him, again, to take another instruction and excel, you're looking at a player who a manager can absolutely love working with because irrespective of the job you give him in the game, he's willing to sacrifice for the team or excel. It's brilliant to watch him.
I think one thing that we need to highlight is the fact that normally when a player is given such a responsibility, when he does all the beautiful things, there should be someone at the end of the
yes.
A Benzema would have ensured that all his hard work would have been very, very profitable. But realize that when past Kimmich delete closest,
there was no outlet.
There was nobody. So he was forced now to finish the move all by himself.
That's what started shooting.
By actually shooting.
Yeah.
He had 2 brilliant shots, 2 world-class saves from Noah. So again, like you rightly said, it's about what is at hand. And a coach knowing the quality of every single player in his team. Carlo Ancelotti is very much aware of Vinicius Junior's quality on the one. Look, I think currently in world football, you want to fancy him 1v1 against any defender because he's not only skilled.
Maybe except Kyle Walker.
No.
Maybe.
Okay,
because since they've met,
Walker does that to every winger in the world.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
Okay. Yeah, but I was told that Hazard had a better of him at times. And
but that was a younger, more naive Kyle Walker.
Yeah, that's true.
So 1v1, you fancy Vinicius Juniors all day.
Yeah.
So what Carlo Ancelotti actually required from him was to constantly and persistently isolate himself, like DK has rightly pointed out, to get him. But what Thomas Tuchel also didn't do was the lack of diagonal shift. You see, what Bayern Munich didn't do very well was that when you have Real Madrid isolating and more or less teasing everybody to the left,
you need to compress that space as well.
Cavallard, with his long, see, there's a huge gap there. And normally when the pass goes that long, per the trajectory of the ball, you can
moving.
Adjust and then shift diagonally and go and face the ball. So I would have thought that anytime the ball went left to Vinicius Juniors, the shifting should have started from Alphonso Davies.
Yeah.
Should have been diagonal. If Alphonso was coming in diagonal, that would have forced Lama
to move closer.
To move a bit closer.
Yes. But that was shaped.
Exactly. But Alphonso Davies constantly stayed wide.
Yeah.
That means there was a bigger space to mark.
Bigger space. That was why Lema and that ball was a super player.
Yeah. And you see, that's my
How
point.
old is he?
Conrad, I think he's like
20.
Not Lima.
No, the other guy.
Pavlovich, 20.
Boy.
20.
Oh my goodness.
But
I've never seen him before.
He's played.
He's played
In the Champions League.
And he got injured. And that was why Goretzka came back into the
was it the quarterfinal?
Yeah.
No, the round of 16.
It's actually the reason why
against
Kimmich.
Lazio.
He's
For me,
actually
he
the
was
reason
the
why
best player over 2 legs.
They've taken Kimmich.
It's actually the reason why Kimmich shifted.
But you see,
proper
what you just explained is my point of departure from everything Daniel explained about the game plan Thomas Tuchel deployed, especially after the goal. Watching the game again, you realize that after Bayern scored, Tuchel is deliberate in talking to Joshua Kimmich that when I'm shifting to the back three.
I don't want you to jam the horse.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
for
so
me,
then
as part of this,
Flow.
Okay.
I have
Alright,
I have justification for what why Tuchel did what he did.
Okay. So you've got a couple of minutes, so
Yeah.
please.
So quick.
Quick.
So so now this is where it gets interesting. We've spoken about Vinicius Jr. coming wide. Mendy is still hugging that inside space. There's Bellingham, there's Rodrigo who also comes in here. But that threat of Bayern Munich still remains. There's still space to be exploited on the flanks. Now in the second half, we worked more often than not. So we saw Musiala and Harry Kane acting as playmakers sort of. You see the Bayern Munich goal. Musiala turns brilliant. From a defensive situation, Musiala wins the ball back, turns brilliantly, hands it off to Kane. And as soon as Kane has the ball, he has runners. He has Alphonso Davies darting on this side. There was Leroy Sané also giving a very good inside run here. And then the ball goes over the top. Alphonso Davies scores. Excellent. Now Bayern are leading 1-0. Now, this is where I'm come to justify why Tuchel did what he did. And for me, this game was basically down to player application and individual mistakes. You can't blame Tuchel for this defeat. You cannot.
I have just
Let
10
him
minutes.
explain
Yes,
it.
he'll finish.
I just want to understand
No,
it.
I agree with everything he's saying.
On the
Apart from
Tuchel, on not blaming Tuchel, do you agree with him?
no, I blame him.
Okay, so let him explain
A
why
bit,
he thinks
yes.
Tuchel wasn't to blame. After which I'll come to you then.
Okay. So what we saw after Bayern scored the goal was 2 substitutions from Real Madrid, which changed how they were going to play.
Exactly.
So Modric came on
For Cruz?
for Cruz, and then Camavinga came
For
on
Tchouaméni.
for Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni, who in attack, in build-up, had been completely useless.
Zero.
He had been cut out of the game. When Camavinga comes on, Camavinga is occupying that left centre-back build-up role that Toni Kroos was
Exactly.
advocated. So what it means now is Camavinga can't do that job. He has the ability to pick those passes. He has the ability to drive the ball into
He
midfield.
actually will carry the ball.
He actually
even
will
more.
carry the ball. And this time, Real Madrid have a playmaker closer to goal. So in the first half, where Cruz was sort of being the deep lying playmaker, the rest of them were receivers. They were not necessarily fashioning out chances from close to the box. This time, Modric is around. And now you have double danger. Because if you are going to sit back in that your 4-4-2 shape and try and block Camavinga, he can pick the ball and dart around whoever is in front of him and drive it and give it to Modric. There's still Bellingham around. There's still Rodrigo. There's still Vinicius. There's danger. So this is double danger for Bayern Munich. And we already spoke about how Real Madrid were already exploiting them from the wide areas. So it's not like Bayern Munich had the game under control. They were struggling because Real Madrid were creating opportunities. So Tuchel has to react. Now what Tuchel does is he brings on Kim. And for me, the space interpretation I mentioned earlier is very, very difficult to mark. Extremely difficult to mark. That's when players decide to overload certain zones. Because the thing is, you don't know where they are going to overload. You don't know. And these guys were overloading the central areas of the pitch.
They are all very mobile.
And they are all very mobile.
That's right.
So at times in the game, Bellingham will come deep. Vinicius and Rodrigo will come and sort of.
Rodrigo's movements around the pitch, though.
Look, it wasn't even a
So
box.
dangerous.
Yeah, at a point, Real Madrid had built sort of a pentagon in front of the Bayern.
Like a diamond.
Like a diamond, yeah.
Sort of.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in and around, which had completely. So they had 2 men free in the midfield. And then all of a sudden they'll switch and they'll go onto the left-hand side. So if you say you're going to bring somebody, a midfielder, an extra midfielder to sort of try and match that pressure, if they go onto the left-hand side, what are you going to do? So Tuchel had to make a change. And then he brought Kim. Now, when he brought Kim on, for me, the reason why I feel is a perfect
I
substitution.
think that was a spot on. I even clapped for
yeah,
him when he did
It
that.
was the, look, super substitution. So he takes Sané off, and then he brings on Kim. So now, Bayern have gone into a back three. So with the back three, there's Alphonso Davies, there's Joshua Kimmich now playing as a wing back. Now that threat of Vinicius
Is
Jr.
that a back 5 or a back 3?
was a back
It's a back
five, yeah.
three
Back
transitional
five, yeah.
into a
The
back
wing
five.
backs were never used again, Boga.
No, but it's-
Then pin them, sir, until some loose counter.
No.
Okay.
So back 3, which obviously back 5, which becomes a back 3. Now, what happens was that now Kimmich is a bit closer to Vinicius. If he goes back past him, there's defensive line
There's
cover here.
delete.
There's delete. So now Madrid are stuck. Although they have the men out wide, they have to switch. They have to change something because Tuchel has neutralized that threat on in the wide areas. And in the middle, there was still Harry Kane, there was still Musiala, there was still yes. And then there was Alphonso Davies out wide, who for me was consistently still a danger man. Real Madrid also had to switch something. So now Carlo reacts again and he brings on Joselu and then he brings on Diaz. Now, we mentioned, and coach mentioned the lack of the outlets for Real Madrid throughout the game. Vinicius would do stuff, there's no... Carlo was getting desperate. Time was going. Joselu comes in. Rodrigo goes off. Diaz comes in. So Joselu, Diaz are now on for Real Madrid. Vinicius Jr. vacates the wide areas. He comes in. He's attacking half spaces. Diaz is attacking half spaces. Joselu is now pinned.
He's engaging
the center backs. Now, Camavinga can pick a pass. Modric can pick a pass. Rudiger and Nacho have been asked to come forward. Rudiger can pick a pass.
He did pick a couple.
And he was picking passes. Now Real Madrid were hitting the ball. So what is happening is that Real Madrid have all three center backs of Bayern Munich engaged. So Tuchel also needs to do something. It was literally chess. Tuchel also needed to react because Real Madrid have now gone with one. Now, how are you going to stop it? Thomas Tuchel makes another substitution, which for me was so important. Once Nacho and Rudiger were asked to come forward, and they were hitting these long balls, and we saw an occasion where Rudiger got a pass into Vinicius Jr., who arrived.
Who was running from the half space in behind it.
Hit it over the bar narrowly.
It's a brilliant pass, by the way.
That's a pass
you attribute to Modric or Kroos.
And Rudiger has been doing this. He's been doing this since his days with Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea. He's been doing it. It's just a part of his game that is not really, it has gone under the radar. But Rudiger has that ability. At that point, Musiala and Kane had to apply pressure. Their legs were gone. Musiala couldn't track Rudiger. Kane was struggling to...
And Musiala was cramping.
He was cramping.
Yeah.
Tuchel has confirmed that Kane has to come off because of a back injury. We all could see Musiala
that is where I disagree with him.
No, what? Look.
That is not true.
Coach, are you in the medical?
No, but that is not true.
And again, the reason why I believe it was Kane wasn't doing a good job defensively.
No, but
stopping
in the entire game, he wasn't defending.
Kane went off at 1-1.
But his presence...
he went off. He went off at 1-0.
He went off at 1-0 with like 8 minutes to go.
No, 86 minutes. So it was
4 minutes to go.
And this is my
That's not bad.
No.
That
Wait, I'm coming.
No,
I'm
Coach,
coming.
I'm
coming. Let me now explain why that was bad. Normally, the coaches who are in sync with what is actually happening would not effect that hurricane change.
Why is that?
Before the 90th minute.
Why is that?
For the simple reason that if you take off your two danger men, Musiala and Hurricane, at the same time, you send the message to Real Madrid that Rudiger, who came on to replace Hurricane, and you simple more thing.
No, coach,
can I ask a question? Danny, so Danny said that
I'm coming.
Kane and Musiala were not engaging the center back.
I think
at that
Musiala
point, they had already stepped up.
Look, Real Madrid had already
Musiala, they had stepped up.
Yeah.
After all, Rudiger and Cole had already stepped up throughout the entire game.
No, not necessarily.
No, where was Hurricane's starting position? He never started in the half of Real Madrid. He
was
always
a mid-block kind of.
That's what I'm saying. That Hurricane and Musiala always started their move from the Bayern Munich half.
Yeah.
In the entire game. And that was the game plan. So the point I'm making here is that if you introduce Choupo-Moting to come and play a role for Hurricane, he needs like 5, 6, 10 minutes to adjust to the rhythm.
That's where
so normally what coaches would do, look, go back, go and check. I'm giving you the opportunity to go and research on this. Normally what coaches would do, you allow the one playing to complete the 90th minute. When we now enter into what?
Game management time.
The management time. You ask him to go out wide and then you effect the change from there and ask him to walk. It's tactical. Walk from your end, from where he's been onto. What does that is it breaks the rhythm of the team trying to exert the pressure.
And also to add to what
Uh-huh.
Chris has been explaining.
Coach, but can that rhythm be
Sicho,
broken still on
Sicho.
30? Can that rhythm be broken if in the 87th minute? Madrid have been dominating from 82nd to 87th minute, and you make a change from Harry Kane. Can you not still ask him to work from that distance? Still bring the
no,
rhythm?
but
I'm saying
the reason,
Sicho,
no,
Sicho.
see, the reason why
I
I
thought
need
that-
this thing to land is
Okay.
because
No, let's
You land.
this
Okay,
is
you
a
land.
Champions League game
Let
of
land,
fine
yeah.
details. It's a Champions League
away
game
at
of
the bow.
Look, it's fine margins. If you look at the lack of engagement that Kane and Musiala were doing, literally allowing Camavinga and Rudiger
Yeah.
to be pinning balls. Rudiger could just pick the ball, drive to literally hand the ball to Modric without any pressure whatsoever. And that wasn't because Musiala didn't want to or Kane didn't want to.
Yeah, he was
They
gone.
couldn't. So remember I said that Kane's primary job was playmaking. When the two substitutions that happened after, with Muller coming in and with Choupo-Moting coming in, these are fresh legs. They were supposed to press the centre backs. And it worked.
And add a bit of physicality
And
as
add
well.
a bit of physicality. Now, what happens is that instead of Choupo-Moting becoming the Kane, Muller became the Kane. Muller is a better playmaker than Harry Kane. Muller has better technique. He has a better passing range. He has a better eye for a pass. He came in. It actually worked because within 1 minute of them coming on, they won the ball in a 3v1 situation. And Muller had the ball. Who else would the coach want to have the ball? And Muller messed it up with that pass. That is not the coach's fault. You expect Thomas Muller to be able to execute that pass and kill off the game. Yet he messed it up. But in theory, that ability to put pressure on the centre backs, apply pressure in the midfield, stop them from getting the ball transitioning into the final third as easy as they were doing when Harry Kane and Musiala were there. Because you can't allow 4 minutes to go and hoping that 90th minute will come and it's still 1-0.
The point I'm
You
making
have to
is
make a change.
I'm not complaining about the Musiala change. My point is the Hurricane change. And it's become a topic
Okay,
for
so
everybody to discuss.
as
So,
suspect,
Danny Dan.
Danny, so now come to you, coach.
Yes.
Now,
What I'm saying is
okay.
that when Musiala more or less cramped, let me put it that way,
Yeah.
it was clear he couldn't continue.
Yeah.
So when I think that was where he should have brought on Thomas Muller, and he should have kept Harry Kane. Bring on Thomas Muller. You see, you do this thing having an eye on this.
But why are you discounting the fact that the manager says Kane was?
I don't believe it.
Was in
Look,
pain?
he knew.
Pep Guardiola said that Haaland
Haaland
said he
yeah.
couldn't play. Kevin De Bruyne said
No,
he wanted
but
to come
no.
off.
You see,
Manuel Akanji said they wanted to come off. Harry Kane maybe there could be nothing.
the man didn't say Harry Kane said come. He said he felt the man was injured. He said he thinks the man was injured.
That's what
That
he
is
said.
different from
That's not what he said.
Pep's. What did
He
he
said
say?
he actually was emphatic to say that Harry Kane had a back problem.
No.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's
But
the
Harry,
being emphatic.
Harry,
That's
Kane,
the situation.
Harry Kane didn't have a back problem.
No, but
The back problem from where?
did you not think that Harry Kane throughout the whole game didn't look at his best, at his sharpest?
No, but he's never been a pacey player.
No, not
It's
pace.
not about being
Not
pace, it's
pace.
a
But you
sharpness.
look at the contribution. Harry Kane was not. He was
Harry Kane
not
had a
meant,
chance.
listen, he was
that
not
could have
meant,
made it 2-0.
he was
you know?
not meant to win balls. He was meant to bring people in the game. So the moment you take him off, there wasn't a better outlet. He was winning fouls. Tell me what I'm saying was not. His presence won them so many fouls, and it killed the rhythm of Real
But
Madrid.
that's a job Choupo-Moting can do, and that's all the
He
time.
didn't even do one of them. That's the
Because
point I'm
of
making.
Neuer.
No, not because of Neuer. Because he needed time. Choupo-Moting needed about 5 to 10 minutes.
Then what's the essence of warm up then? Because
No,
players
no,
are warming
It won't,
themselves
do,
up
it,
to
won't, it won't do it.
It won't
won't do
get
it for
you
you.
straight
Hey,
into the
hang
rhythm
on.
of the game.
Madrid comes on, Camavinga come on. Listen, Madrid comes on, Camavinga comes
They
on.
get straight
Brahim
into
Diaz
but
comes
see,
on.
you
see,
Joselu
comes on.
They are hot.
No.
Sisho, that's
Listen,
the wrong.
Alfonso,
listen.
I'm coming. Alfonso Davies comes on in place of Serge Gnabry. He's hot.
It took him like 15 minutes before
Did
he
it?
got into that.
Yes.
In the first 15
but what about
minutes.
Camavinga?
Yeah, but
Modric.
Sisho,
It depends on
It's
where they are
easier-
playing.
And even that, it's easier for
Brahim
you.
Diaz.
No,
Sisho, it's easier for you to warm
For
yourself
somebody who's
into the
supposed to
game.
be an outlet
Danny,
in his time.
Danny, it's easier for you to have that sort
They
of
didn't
momentum
have the opportunity
if the team
because
already has
Neuer
the
made a
rhythm.
mistake literally 2 minutes after,
No.
which completely changed the
What
face
I'm-
of the game.
Forget about the mistake of Manuel Neuer.
I can't forget because it's
No, but
telling.
that was what changed it. That was what handed the game back to Real Madrid. Accepted. But what exactly did Choupo-Moting come into the game to do?
He came to come
For
and
all
kill
you know,
momentum.
if Harry Kane was there, Neuer would have given him that outlet.
Coach, where was the
He
game?
controls
what
the
was
ball,
the game
foul.
won or lost? Where was the game won or lost?
I think it was won on. It was lost Look, as for the Real Madrid winning the game, you and I sitting here know that but for that error, individual error, clearly Bayern would have gone to the final. You put that aside, Bayern Munich had been pegged back by Real Madrid by Emmanuel Neuer mistake. In an attempt to adjust, they considered the second goal. Then you saw Thomas Tuchel now telling Eric, why is it that this thing cannot sit and then allow me to talk? What is that? Okay, good. Then you saw, how do you call it? Thomas Tuchel telling the entire Bayern Munich team, I've not touched it. I think it's okay.
It's okay now.
You with it? Okay. You guys say it's moving away. So I have to
Yeah,
follow.
yeah,
it.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
You let
okay.
me follow it.
Yeah, okay. follow
Now,
it.
Thomas Tuchel now tells everybody that the referee has added 9 minutes. So there's time. He did this. Come on, let's go. Everybody, go forward. That, I respect him for that. Because even at that stage, he still believed that they could get something out of
But
the
he
game.
had to try.
Of course, he's losing the game, he's exiting. So he never cared. But again, that Hurricane substitution caused them a bit of assurance in dropping the tempo away from Real Madrid. Look, when Bayern Munich took the lead, what exactly was Hurricane doing? Anytime the ball went to him, he protected the ball, he won the foul.
But when he
killed
had a golden opportunity, he struck the side.
That
net.
wasn't a goal. That wasn't a goal.
That was.
opportunity.
It was.
The
It was.
50-50 chance.
The angle-
There was
Really,
a massive,
listen.
huge.
That's Hurricane.
The left-footed.
That's
It's an easy goal for
Hurricane.
that Hurricane
It's
every
not-
day.
Oh, David, look.
Coach,
Let's be-
No.
The angle
No.
didn't favor him.
The angle wasn't wide. It was
wide.
Come on,
No.
coach.
I wish we could go back to
That's Hurricane.
the ball was given to him on his left foot.
If you give
There
that
was
chance to
Rudiger.
Jackson and he misses, it's cool.
It's
But when
on
that
the
chance
Champions
falls
League
to
semis.
Kane,
See?
And that's what many
No,
people
no,
say
no.
Hurricane, though. He's the only white man who has his house riches following him. You know.
No, forget about that.
I mean, that's on a lighter note because that's on. I mean, I'm
Look,
sorry, that's on a lighter note. But
I don't see how you can look at
But that was the
Hurricane.
chance,
That was,
coach.
the angle never favored him. If he needed to go across the goalkeeper.
that is Kane every
And
day.
the Bayern Munich and the Real Madrid, was it?
At least test the goalkeeper. At least test Lunin.
he hits the side netting.
least
What
test him.
I'm saying is that
Yeah.
he hits the side netting because the angle didn't favor him. He comes across, Rudiger blocks that all day.
Coach, is that poor finishing?
It's not poor finishing.
Okay.
What is the role of Rudiger? He's here, Rudiger is here, and the goalpost is here.
I thought he was way ahead of Rudiger. I
No,
thought
he wasn't.
He wasn't. He
Oh, no.
wasn't.
If he was ahead of Rudiger, he scores that
He
all
scores
day.
that goal all
Oh,
day.
listen.
If he was 1v1 with the keeper, he
He
scores that
scores
all
that
day.
goal all
The
day.
bottom corner was way it was available.
And
This
I'm
is a
saying
goal
that,
Hurricane
which
has
is
scored.
and I'm
Not
saying
less
that,
But the
than
defender
50
was
and I'm
ahead.
saying that the
No, he
defender
was
was
ahead
there.
of the no.
He was ahead of the defender.
He was not
When
ahead.
was
He
Musiala
was
slipping
slightly
through?
ahead. The only
When
thing
Musiala
was that,
slipping
yeah,
through?
the only thing was that
You-
if he
you
cut
like
him,
Chris.
would have
If he
given
come- you see,
Rudiger
if he
time.
comes
But the
across-
point is,
He didn't
on
have to
his
cut
left
him.
foot,
On his left, he had
on
to
his
go
left
across.
foot, he could easily go across.
That's what I'm saying.
Rudiger is not
In an
blocking it
attempt
if
to
he
come-
goes
Yeah,
left.
that's what I'm saying. He was ahead of Rudiger.
Yeah.
Rudiger is a top defender. Don't take that for granted. Rudiger knew. So go and watch the clip again. Rudiger was getting ready to go down to block
So
the
that's
shot.
not a missed chance by Kane.
It wasn't. I think, look, the angle didn't favor him. And
Right.
Rudiger's presence too would not allow him to go across. Rudiger blocks that all day. I need to comment on that linesman.
All right, so let's talk about that situation then. There was this moment where Bayern Munich thought they had an opportunity to score. In the end, the whistle went when
Even
before
though
delete.
Douala. That assistant referee,
What did he do?
the baby, had come there to cheat.
Come on.
I'm
coach.
telling you honestly.
Come on.
It's true.
Come
It's
on.
true.
He had made up his mind
To cheat.
from the first half to cheat.
What did you see in the first half that made
You
think?
remember there was a ball that Dyer cleared.
Yes.
That didn't go out. The ball stayed in play.
And he went
And then
down.
it went down. And then the linesman said the ball has gone out.
And
Then-
whilst the ball was still in
What-
play,
There was a Bayern Munich player going to take the ball. Then that was
It was a Real
Madrid
Madrid player going to play.
first major chance.
Yes.
If Manuel Neuer had slept 1 minute, Real Madrid would have scored first. You remember that sequence?
Yeah, I
isn't
remember
it?
that. What was the second sequence?
That's the second sequence was the disallowed goal. Why did he raise the flag? Why? Is it because
I mean, he's come out to say that he's accepted the
Oh, come on.
that it was
What?
a mistake. Yeah.
Come on.
No, I'm
you
saying- I'm
have
just saying-
destroyed?
I'm just saying that he himself has said it was a mistake.
yeah, no, but
You know,
that
so-
cannot be
so-
accepted.
I agree. I'm just saying that there's no
Because
debate about the mistake.
He
here.
got carried away by the atmosphere at the Bernabeu.
Soon.
So all his blood level had sunk very, very low. And therefore, he couldn't see and apply common sense in his decision making.
All right, so in that sequence, what's the best? What's the best scenario? When that happens, what's the best scenario? What are referees told to do?
The rule says allow the sequence to end. Simple.
Right.
So if you listen to Matisse Delete, what did he say? He said, look at the Real Madrid goal. Yes, the sequence was allowed to end. So when they flagged for an offside,
You can't check.
they went back to the VAR, and the VAR clearly showed that Rudiger was not offside. Perfect goal. Why did that linesman? Look, he reminded me of the Chelsea-Barcelona days, where it was clear.
Of Rebel.
Me, I don't like Chelsea. Everybody knows that Coach Nimble Dier, I don't like Chelsea. But that Barcelona-Chelsea game,
It was clear.
it was clear that Chelsea was robbed. That linesman, no wonder the referee cried, because that, you see, the two of them connived, actually.
Which referee cried?
No, the one who cried was the Dortmund one.
Dortmund,
Yes.
yeah.
If you look at the Lord is my barber, the one who handled
Of Rebel.
the Real Madrid.
No, the Real Madrid
Yeah.
one. The police.
Is he-
guy.
He's a world-class referee.
Simon
Yes,
Martinez.
he
officiated
ref the World Cup final.
World Cup final. It's a brilliant referee. He
In
might
fact,
have,
the three of them,
as a, yes,
yeah,
as a matter
they
of
work
fact,
as a team.
I don't think the center referee though can be blamed much.
You see,
No, but he blew the whistle.
Danny
He had
said
to-
something.
No, he didn't have to.
He had to.
Danny
He
said
didn't have
something.
to.
He had to.
He didn't have to.
didn't
Why
have
should
to.
allow VAR to
He
check
should
the
have allowed
sequence?
it. Let the game
Let the
play.
sequence
If you
end.
don't, no, you see, the players don't play to the linesman. They play
Yes.
to the whistle.
But the referee
So if
blows his whistle on offside based on the lines.
Yes, so
Yes,
if
but
he has seen
see
that
the
the line,
sequence.
the sequence is not over, he doesn't need to blow his
No.
whistle.
Okay, so this is why I think I said he should have blown it. There are three things that happens here. When the ball goes long, the referee doesn't blow it.
Mhm.
There's an initial header that heads the ball away from goal, and that is where the flag goes up.
Yeah.
And from the referee's viewpoint, if the linesman has his flag up, then he's sure he's seeing something. After the ball had gone away from goal.
You see,
So as soon as the flag goes up, he whistles.
No,
I'm
but
saying
that ball,
that for the linesman,
Mhm.
the flag should have been down.
Yeah.
But in offside situations, if the flag goes up, the referee blows the whistle.
No.
you see,
The referee doesn't. Look, let coach.
Why?
Let me just take you back to, was it 3 or 4 seasons ago? Man United were facing Arsenal. A long ball comes in for Aubameyang, and the linesman raises his flag. David De Gea is raising his hand, and the referee is allowing the play to continue. Aubameyang scores. They check VAR. It's a goal because referee didn't blow his whistle.
exactly.
Referee thought that was close.
No, was that for offside or
It was for offside.
It was for offside.
It was for offside.
It was offside.
Aubameyang scored.
I remember
And
that game
yes,
very
and the
well.
goal was given.
And the ball was
given.
towards goal.
It was towards. Roberto was running towards
That is
goal.
what I'm saying. That the sequence is different.
So he
If the
didn't
player
have
is
to
running
raise his.
towards
He didn't
goal-
have to blow the whistle.
If the player is running towards
You see,
goal,
who headed the ball? The first cross.
it was a bind. It was.
It was a
it
Bayern
was
player.
It was,
And he had
yes.
the ball to another Bayern player. He said he's moving away from
Yes,
goal.
no,
In
the
the
ball-
same 18
no,
box.
the ball was heading towards Lunin. The Bayern player headed the ball
But Sishu,
Across.
Sishu,
across.
the rule does not talk about the direction,
Direction
of
of
the
the
ball.
ball.
No,
It says the sequence of play has
must
to
be
conclude.
No,
That's all.
no.
No, but the rule doesn't talk about the direction of the ball.
Look it up again. The instruction and protocol
Uh-huh.
to VAR
Mhm.
is when the ball is headed towards the goal, allow the sequence to end. When the ball moves away from goal and the chance is gone,
So
then
But the
No, but-
chance
that
but
chance
Sishu,
not
Sishu,
gone.
when the
Sishu,
ball, that's what I'm saying.
No, but Sishu,
That when the ball
if you
moves
do
away
it,
from
Sishu,
goal,
if you
that
hang
chance
on,
was
that is the
not gone.
protocol.
Sishu,
No,
if you hang on,
I'm not saying the referee are right. I'm
just to make an
saying-
intervention.
What, yes, please.
If you hang on every word, you are getting fixated with the letter of the law.
exactly.
Is that not what they're supposed to
No,
do?
in that moment, it is the spirit of the whole
You have to use
intention.
common sense.
The whole spirit of
Like
the law.
the way this guy touched the ball that he didn't give the
No,
penalty.
Sishu,
Saliba.
the whole
It's
spirit
common
of the
sense.
law is to allow the sequence of play
To
to
complete.
complete. It doesn't matter the specific wording of it.
That's right.
Because when you say that the ball, when you say that you want to focus on the direction of the ball,
Yeah.
it can be an offensive header away from goal, like the pass that we
Yeah.
just saw. It does not mean that that attack has concluded, because in the end it was a Bayern
Because he
player
was heading
Heading
towards
to
the
a
Bayern
Bayern
his
player.
player.
teammates.
I agree.
So
I agree
the,
there's a
so,
mistake.
so the direct interpretation of the direction of the ball in this instance will be wrong,
Exactly.
because that sequence has not concluded. And even though the header is away from goal, it is not a clearance from a Madrid player into
That ended it.
What about those who also say that, well, the whistle came before the header towards the leads and Real
But
Madrid
that's the
stopped
point. The
playing.
whistle shouldn't go.
The whistle shouldn't
No.
go.
We've established that. We've gone
Yes.
past that. I'm saying that people are speaking as though it was a certain goal. It was certain that the ball was headed towards the back of the net. The other argument from Real Madrid fans on social media, and you guys can drop your comments about it, was that as soon as the whistle went, before Muller's header back to delay it, Real Madrid then also had a whistle and maybe stopped playing.
It's not true.
They had no stop.
Anybody who said the Real Madrid players had stopped, that was a blatant lie. That is never true. Because when the ball was headed,
it was contested. The second ball was contested.
You could clearly see, even the goal was contested. When Delete was striking the ball, there was a Real Madrid player attempting to block the ball.
And it went through his legs.
It went through his legs.
For Real Madrid, let me bring Achu in. Achu, let me get your thoughts on that. I don't know where you want to pick up. Daniel's going into the tactics coach has back did with coach has spoken about the problems.
Let me make my statement again. That assistant referee,
Baby.
he came there to cheat. He came there to cheat. From when I say baby, it means from the very moment the game started. He's made up his mind. Anything by him on that side of the field, he will be raising his flag and cheating.
Right.
How can you do that?
Look, Sisho, I think that
please.
Tuchel cannot
DK,
have an excuse.
Baby, no more.
He and Bayern cannot. The way Madrid set up in that first half, these overloads on that left side. I mean, this very asymmetrical look that Madrid have is exactly what you expected. It's what served them well against City. In fact, in the last 12 months, perhaps go as far back as last season.
Exactly.
Every important game Madrid have played, when they get cornered, this is how they get out of the woods. It is their most effective way of combining the various profiles that they have to stretch opponents, sometimes even force errors, and also deliberately ensure that the chances fall to the right players. That is why when at peak application, the chances are either falling to Vini or Rodrigo, in the case when Benzema was around, when Benzema was central, the chances will fall to him. So I don't think there was anything Madrid did that surprised Thomas Tuchel
at all,
or that was not expected before the game.
Exactly.
That's why I had a problem with the way they handled the way Madrid set up. Because
is it a case of you know what they can do, but you can't
how,
stop it?
That's why I said. Okay. That's why I said that what he tried to do with Leroy Sané shows a defect in the profile of players he's got, or even sometimes the quality.
Is that on Tuchel?
On the bench? No, on Bayern.
But look,
because if you look,
just before you continue, why was he keeping Alphonso Davies on the bench?
I'll come to that.
That was a very stubborn.
Where should he have started?
No, should he sit down?
No, where should he, like, in place of who?
Alphonso Davies.
Yes.
Davies.
Mazuari or Nabri. Like, who would you start?
Alphonso Davies is the obvious left-footed fullback of the team.
But defensively, he's got a problem.
Alphonso Davies. Yeah. The way he will push you back, you know, even expose
but if you have issues with Davies...
Where are the benefits?
If you have issues with Davies defending, Mazraoui is not the guy to start, because
at all.
What Davies,
he's a far better defender.
What Davies will
offer you will not expose his defense.
You are way to Real Madrid.
The game plan, the fullbacks were not even supposed to go and attack. That's the thing. So
I'm saying that Alphonso Davies, whether your fullback,
he wouldn't have done that job better than Mazraoui.
He can't. Just let me finish it. So I felt, look, if Bayern go at least three natural midfielders in that position, they deal with the problems Madrid creates and how easily. And you see, for me, it was
Pavlovic,
for me,
Lima, and Goretzka.
For me, it was Goretzka cannot do that job.
So
Goretzka. That's why I'm saying that they didn't have anyone.
Nabri was injured. Do like you did in the first leg. Put the young boy Musiala left, and then bring another.
The Madrid players could combine.
Bring another midfielder.
The Madrid players could combine, but the spacing and the freedom that they enjoyed on the ball, for me, was criminal. Much. Especially when they had to switch off play. And you see, when the game developed, I was hoping at some point Davies will keep tacking inside to close down the space.
That was the one I swear. The guy coming in.
Every time you realize that. So even when they switched to back three, by that time, Madrid had built so much momentum that it was no longer a matter of whatever was technical or tactical for you to say, let me try this move. Because when they are in sync and when players get into that mood and are playing with so much confidence, the solutions that they can find.
But if Davies stacks inside,
and
Nabri was doing it. In the first half, Davies was doing that. And that is what was making Carvajal go free.
Just let me finish. They begin to do things with their intuition that when things calm down, they probably think twice before taking that risk. An example is one of those passes that, the very first pass that Tony Rudiger played, right? He will make that pass after noticing that he's got a big center forward. So when you watch Rudiger from his days at Roma and Chelsea, every time he's played those passes, it's always to a big center forward who can bring it down or someone who has made a habit of making those third runs from in from behind. All through the game, this was not a pattern that Madrid has shown. But in that moment, because of the confidence he was playing with, he began finding those solutions. And it wasn't just him. I'm just saying that in your management of the game, you don't allow things to deteriorate or escalate to that point where things have gotten out of hand, right? Players are beginning to create scenarios that maybe Ancelotti himself may not have originally intended. And when you watch the game, you can clearly tell what was predetermined to happen, right? What was part of Madrid's plan, Ancelotti's plan.
You could clearly see
that. And then you could see that things that the players themselves.
When you made the changes, the application changed.
The game kept on changing. You move, I move. You move, I react. You move, I react.
So you see, Real Madrid.
The other bit for me,
focus a lot of their time on the left.
Just to conclude on
why
this
wouldn't Alphonso Davies tuck in?
And you see, it may sound simplistic, but just look at the first chance that Madrid gets. If Alphonso Davies tucks in and ensures that the distance between himself, Carvajal, and then the nearest Madrid midfielder is closer, Carvajal does not have that much space to whip in that cross. The very cross.
No, wait.
If
he tucks in, that is why
Davies was not there.
At that point,
It wasn't there. It was Gnabry. And Gnabry had tucked in.
So that's the point, right? So this is something that had carried on right from the first half, irrespective of who was there. The other issue for me was that the substitution.
When you say
tuck in, what I can
narrow down the space, not necessarily tucking, but close the angle
between who and who?
Between himself and the nearest Bayern player.
You are saying to deal. I'm coming. I just want to try and I want him to explain.
Mm-hmm.
You are saying to deal with the overloads that Madrid were having on the left-hand side. Alphonso Davies should tuck in.
I said two things. I said the first one was they didn't have the numbers and even the profile of players to deal with the overloads Madrid were creating.
Yes, but
because
how
if
to
you have
deal with
a more natural midfielder, they block those spaces easily.
Yeah.
I think it's
But they
about
but they have-
attacking in.
That is one. The second bit was when Madrid had a switch of play, the stubbornness to still stick with the original shape that they had, as opposed to getting players to get closer.
No,
for me, was problematic.
And that's what I'm saying.
Hang on.
That didn't
Hang on.
happen. What happened was
Yes.
when Real Madrid overloaded, Bayern
shifted the
tucked
whole
in.
Bayern
It shifted
team.
the entire
I
Bayern
think so.
team.
No.
And that's what
As he
kept
shifted the entire Bayern thing.
Yeah.
What was Alphonso Davies doing
There's-
far left?
and
No, he wasn't far
even-
left.
wasn't.
No,
I'm talking about
watching
the first
game. In
half.
that second half.
Yes.
In that second half.
Yes.
Where the game became
Yeah.
a bit strict.
Yes.
His tuck in should have drawn him closer to Rudiger.
Coach, that's
and
all. No,
in the middle line.
coach, that's what I'm
It's a
saying. I'm saying
diagonal movement.
no. Listen, in
No.
the first half, they did that, and that
And they
created
allowed
space
Carvajal
for
so much
Carvajal.
space.
So in the
Listen,
second half,
because of
you
listen,
can yes,
listen.
you can repeat that
What
same
actually
mistake.
Then you're not understanding it.
What actually saying is this: when the ball goes wide
Mhm.
and there's that switch,
Yeah,
if the players or if the coaches tell the players that when you see the ball takes time before it goes and land, you have to close. That's what he's saying. Close the space. But if you don't look, Carvajal will come from behind and he will be giving them the way.
Those cross-
and
and
he will
coach,
kick the ball.
And you know,
But
Then
the quality,
I'm not
the
sure.
quality
I'm not
of
sure what the
Toni Kroos
instruction was, but my guess is
Actually,
that
I'm just saying.
I'm not
the
sure what the
quality of-
instruction was. But
the
my
quality
guess
of-
was that
Okay, go on.
even when there was a switch of play, Bayern were still preoccupied with dealing with the numbers in behind. So Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham, the run that they would make, the third runs that they would make. So Bayern were still focused on making sure that they are within touching distance of each player. And
Dealing with the cross.
they
that
should
cross-
leave Vinicius Junior and Bellingham.
I'm just saying that just get closer. Because if you
Vinicius Juniors and
Sisho,
those guys there,
if you
they're
feel
not
that
going to
Sisho.
beat, delete, and Dyer in the
I
air.
think you guys
It's
are
not
leaving something out.
Mhm.
When you are switching play,
It's insane.
the quality of pass also determines if the opponents are going to get there in time. When Toni Kroos was pinging
It's
those balls,
whipping it direct. Oh.
the
It's
pace,
not
the
looping.
pace and the weight of the pass was such that there was no way Bayern were going to arrive in time to block space for Carvajal.
It was the movement of the players that created that.
Which movement?
No, the movement
The
created
movement-
a
the
space, but
movement
you're
of
saying
Real
the
Madrid
time.
I am saying that Alphonso Davies and the boy from Morocco. Go watch the
Masraoui.
two of them.
Yeah.
When you see Toni Kroos, surprisingly, were not switching the play from in the middle of
No.
the pitch.
No.
He was far left.
Yes.
And normally when the ball goes this way, Those two guys, look, one of them, the moment Toni Kroos.
Anyway, guys, I think we spent too much time on this game.
Let's make a statement.
No,
Let me-
But you didn't allow me to finish.
No.
The fact is,
Danny.
overload
Danny,
season,
let me just-
we've not learned how to defend against
let me
it.
just-
So that's for that one.
let me just finish.
Let's
Let me
Let's touch
let me
briefly on
just-
the PSG Dortmund.
Let me
Then
just
wrap it up.
finish on this. I thought the Choupo-Moting substitution should have been Matthias Tel, because if you were losing, the profile of players you lost should have been the same. You
Maybe like
replaced.
for like.
Yes, so that
Maybe
Tel
get Choupo-Moting.
can hold on to the ball, draw fouls if necessary, and in that moment,
No.
you needed someone there.
Danny, please hold on.
You needed someone on the pitch, on the part of Bayern, who, if the attack is not on,
But
draw a
also got
foul.
a great pace.
Yes,
But
If
if
the
the
attack-
Hurricane
hold
can't
that
play
play
the last
better
1
than
minute.
Choupo-Moting.
if the attack is not on,
Hurricane can't play the
Because
last 4 minutes.
Muller
To enter to the 90th
Muller
minute.
can do the hold-up play for you. He can do the playmaking bits. And then if the attack is not on, the option becomes draw a foul.
That's
and
it.
Tel can do that for them.
That's what Hurricane
Unfortunately,
was
he
doing.
missed it. The final point I want to make is UEFA need to do something about these incidents involving referees and Real Madrid.
It's
And,
becoming
and
too
they are high
many.
profile, and it always happens in the big games. 2017, 2018, the yellow card, the second yellow card that was shown to Vidal on Asensio, clean tackle. He made no contact with Asensio. Somehow, the referee saw it, and here's the thing: in the same game, Casemiro had made 1 billion bookable offenses. You could tell that there was a clear decision to look beyond the fouls that he was committing.
Do you
And
know
then
what-
when there
do you
was
know-
a-
do you know what? Do you know what?
You let him
I
learn.
find-
Let
Yes,
him learn.
You're
just
talking
let
about
him-
referees, but he's going to another point. That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean
it's
with the
not-
referees.
it's not-
Okay.
I mean, and then in the same match, we had two very contentious decisions resulting in the Real Madrid goals.
Yeah, it was offside.
Ronaldo that
Yeah.
they scored.
It was offside.
You cannot.
Yeah, but there's
There
no
cannot
VAR.
be that all of your mistakes are favoring one team in the same match.
At the
Why?
time,
That-
there wasn't
the
VAR,
high-
was it?
I'm
was
not
no
talking
VAR,
about
yeah.
But it
VAR.
was so
I'm just
obvious.
saying that when the referee and his assistants, all the high profile, and there were about 6 high profile mistakes in that match, all of them went against Bayern and all went against Madrid. It is questionable. Number 2, there was the Juventus game, right? The Benatia foul on
But it was
Lucas
a-
Vasquez.
It was a penalty.
that incident.
It was a
Wait,
penalty.
wait. You know,
The Juventus
don't
game.
draw that one in.
I
That was
didn't
a
think
clear
it was a
foul.
foul.
It was a
That's
clear
my-
foul.
So the fact that we
I
disagree
respect
means
you.
that the referee can go their way.
Then there is
Vanessa was never getting to the
It
ball.
was
Vasquez,
clear.
how
then
is he going to go through?
then there is this match itself where the referee's assistant clearly sets aside the protocol. The referee himself sets aside the protocol and decides that, you know what, even though, and you see, if these mistakes are made by Martin Oliver or some younger referees
Anthony Taylor.
Yeah,
who have a reputation, Masaniak is squeaky clean. Like, he knows the game. There are points, sometimes when I sit back and I look at his interpretation of the laws of the game, the spirit and letter of the law, and gets the distinction. He's just one guy that you look at and say, he was born for the job. Beyond the intelligence,
you can
he-
clearly see.
he understands it. So when such a person makes such a mistake in a game like this, I find it very difficult to let it go.
Right. Anyway, people are talking about UEFA and Real Madrid. In 2024, the last team UEFA will want to favor is Real Madrid anyway. because the
Don't
two-
say that because you're a
Why is
Madrid
that?
fan.
I'm not a
Why are
Madrid
you
fan.
talking
Everybody
like
knows
that?
something. I'm saying that UEFA and Madrid are actually at loggerheads. Everybody knows the
Oh,
politically.
who said so?
Hang on.
This is about money.
There-
Hang on.
There are business
Madrid-
decisions to be made.
No. I mean, it's another show we can do about why UEFA, the last team UEFA would want to sponsor or would want to help is Real Madrid.
Super
because
League.
Real Madrid actually are chasing the money UEFA themselves are making.
Oh.
As we speak, even the ECA, which is Paris Saint-Germain's, their president, which is Paris Saint-Germain's Alcalaf, they have massive problems. I think these are genuine mistakes from, referees. And I agree with you. UEFA need to start having a second look at how some of these decisions are going. But people are saying that it's UEFA backing Real. I'm saying that
It doesn't
2024
matter if it is UEFA.
Because
It's-
it is
so I'm
always
just saying,
been
I'm not-
about them.
No, and I'm just saying, it's not always been about them. We've had Barcelona have that spell. We've had
Man U.
Man United have their
Yeah,
spell with
Man
that
U.
before. Now it's Real Madrid. So it is the general refereeing. And this season, the Champions League, many teams have benefited from poor officiating. Others have benefited or gained from it, or teams have been.
Sicho,
So it has to be.
in the last decade.
I'm not. I'm just saying. Oh no, hang on.
The explanations you are giving.
It doesn't hold.
Because,
hang
Sicho,
no, you have made your point. No,
the
hang on,
Madrid
actually, wait.
incidents have always happened in the semi-final stage.
It's not true.
And at
It's
the
true.
Bernabeu.
It's not true.
But the
It's
examples
true.
I gave you happened at the Bernabeu.
So Madrid have
And
played
in the
Champions
semi-final
League
stage.
in the last 10 years.
Uh-huh.
They played Champions League almost every season. You've mentioned only 3 seasons. 3 out of 8 years,
No,
7
what
years.
we are
But
saying
those are the
that
ones
when
that
there is
matter.
going
So
to be
I'm
any
saying-
cheating,
No,
it
but
favors
that
them.
Bayern
So
game was
what
in
I'm
the
saying,
semi-final.
what
It was
I'm
quarter.
saying, yes, it was even a quarterfinal. What I'm saying is that refereeing problems. We saw Anthony Taylor UEFA final against Roma. Roma fans were complaining because they should have had a penalty. That wasn't Real Madrid.
We all knew that Anthony Taylor hated Jose. He was going to cheat.
But that wasn't
When he
that
was
wasn't Real Madrid
appointed,
playing.
Roma
You see-
said it that
You
he's
see,
going
my
to cheat.
problem is when people make it a Real Madrid issue. It is not a Real Madrid issue.
It's a referee.
We saw
issue,
Newcastle, Paris Saint-Germain in Paris. Newcastle would have no, coach, hang on. You've made your point.
Newcastle would have
Newcastle would have qualified.
Give them
But
cheap
because
penalty.
of poor officiating, it was a UEFA game. That wasn't Real Madrid playing. So it is not a matter of Real Madrid. It's a matter of
Real Madrid
Yes, I
cannot
have it.
play all the games. The Assad, when they are involved,
No,
when
I'm-
there's a
and I'm
cheating,
giving you
it favors them. That is the point we are
I'm giving
making.
you instances that other teams have been involved. I'm saying that it's a general refereeing problem that needs to be upped. It's not a question of Real Madrid. Of course,
Why is it that
Real
general
Madrid-
referee
Let
problems?
me
when
even
it
give
goes-
you another example.
Madrid are playing
Donnarumma was fouled by Benzema. Clear
Yeah,
foul.
clear foul.
Clear foul.
Hey.
They didn't give it to him.
that's fine.
That's
That's
what
fine.
like, if it
So-
involves
so-
Real Madrid, it always goes in their favor.
Well,
We've seen
I
Casemiro
don't-
those days at Real Madrid. In games that
Coach.
should have been shown a red card, he will play the entire game and they will go and win.
Anyway, so that's it. By the way,
Let's talk about Dortmund
I'm just
and
saying.
the
I'm just saying that.
PSG team.
Yes, I'm just saying that the referees need to do better across board. But there are many games that we've seen that. But briefly, I think we are far. Our time is far gone. Briefly now on Dortmund and PSG, because PSG though, it's almost like what
Luis Enrique is
they are
there
so
to make
close.
money.
They almost always get so close. Yet you look at them and it's like they are very
They were not good
far.
enough.
Luis Enrique, he's there to make money. He's not serious. That guy's not a serious.
No, but you cannot coach a team to a semi-final and not say
Who
you're
told
not
you can't
serious.
coach
No,
a
but
team?
if
to a
You are
Look
here
at the
praising Thomas
decisions.
Tuchel, who's got Bayern to the semi-final. You are saying another coach.
Thomas Tuchel had to go through. Do you see the draw?
Is it his fault?
Newcastle would have been here.
Is it Enrique's fault?
Newcastle would have been
Any
here.
other day, Manuel Neuer makes that save. He's in the final. Simple.
Any other day, Vitinha's efforts and all the efforts Gonzalo Ramos misses.
but
The
Sicho,
ball doesn't
Sicho.
move. oh.
No,
Today,
but
let me tell you
Eh,
this
but
thing.
no, actually,
The
his body doesn't
no,
move.
his body moves.
His body stands
His
there.
body moves.
But-
No,
but-
his
but-
trained.
his
No,
body
the
moves.
body is trained.
The body
His
moves. The
body
pole
moves.
doesn't
Yes.
move.
The ball does
idea
not move.
this idea that they were unlucky, and you see, it's very simplistic when you look at it and say 6 shots came off the post and all of that.
Yeah, off the post service, off target.
4 of those
The
were
post
from
was-
distance.
They were not chances.
They were not clearly.
Wait, what are you saying? They're for distance or what?
No, I'm just saying that when people say that, they use that to create the impression that they got very good chances,
Yes.
but they couldn't finish. They couldn't finish because of luck. That was not the case. When he hit, if the
Well, I'm not
efforts,
saying lack. Okay, I get it. People are
the
saying-
efforts that Joselu, the first goal, if that ball
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
off the post, that's luck. That's where you can say Bayern got lucky, right?
Mhm.
And that Joselu was unlucky because the touch and everything perhaps will be presumably good. But when he hits,
I would say it's a poor finish.
regardless, when he hits a 40-yarder
35 yards.
and it comes off,
He has
that's not
technique.
something you
No, but he has
use
technique.
Nuno
as an
Mendes,
excuse.
Nuno Mendes struck the woodwork from 2 yards out. Mbappe from 5
Sicho,
yards.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
that.
the part of the
does
box.
not
There's
move.
that. I'm just saying
If
that.
you kick it well, it will enter. You know that for a fact,
Yeah, I
isn't it?
agree.
And so if the pole is there, you decide to hit the pole. What is the problem? You didn't execute the ball well.
Anyway, so let's talk about why PSG didn't go through
Yes.
and why Dortmund go through through to
Like
the
the
final.
case started,
Yeah.
you blame the coach. He's not a serious man. Luis
Okay.
Enrique.
First and foremost, last week, all of you were saying Mbappe should play in the left-hand space.
Yeah.
Bring on Gonzalo Ramos, play Dembele on there. The manager listened to you people.
No, he didn't listen to me.
I didn't say
He
that.
didn't listen to us. Look, the idea behind playing Mbappe in the left, on the left, Gonzalo Ramos, and then Dembele. Every manager that has sense, every manager that is serious and has Kylian Mbappe in their team, we see it with France. The only difference between this front three and the French front three is Gonzalo Ramos. You play through Mbappe. This man was consistently playing through Dembele and Hakimi, and he's failing, and he's still going there, and he's failing. Meanwhile, Mbappe and Nuno Mendes are there.
Doing better.
And they are better. Why don't you consistently play through those two? Why are you focusing on Dembele?
Look,
Dembele, Hakimi, Dembele, Hakimi, Dembele, Hakimi.
You saw Mbappe raising his hand.
Give me the
Come
ball.
here. Bring the ball
Give me
to
the
the side.
ball.
Come to the side.
But how does this look on him? I mean, actually, how does this look on Mbappe? That just in the same week where
No, he
Vini took
flopped.
the
That's
game
what I
by
mean. He
the
flopped.
scruff of the neck. Mbappe was almost missing.
There was the Champions League
quarters,
final.
the semis. Yeah,
There was a Champions League final where he missed 2 sitters against Bayern Munich.
yeah.
When I look at the solutions Vini provided
He
for
was
Real
19.
Madrid,
Relax. He was 19.
when I look
Why
at
you
the
come
solutions
to
Vini provided for Real Madrid at the Allianz Arena, and I look at what he did last night,
And he played as a number 9 in that game.
if we are prepared to make excuses for Mbappe and say that he's not a natural center forward, so he cannot play in that position, when someone does it and does it well, you have to give credit to that person.
Who did it and did it well?
Vinicius Junior.
He didn't
In
play
the-
as a
in the-
natural center forward.
I'm
Not
coming.
natural, but he played.
I'm
he
coming.
He
played
didn't
through
play
the
as
middle.
a, he didn't play as a
But Mbappe
natural.
never plays as a
No,
natural
but
center
no,
forward.
no.
He plays through the middle. He doesn't play as a natural
Sichu,
center
we
forward.
will not be distracted. Sichu,
What
we
is
will
you not be?
we will not even be distracted.
The work.
There's been
What?
times.
Okay,
There's been times
what's
that
the-
PSG.
what's the
No,
time?
Danny, wait.
What is the
Danny,
difference?
Let him
What is
land
the
and
difference?
relax. Let him land.
What
Then
are
come
you
and
even
say,
The
responding to?
statement is
Wait,
not true.
What are you
Let him
responding
land.
to?
The statement is
Wait,
not
what
true.
are you responding
What
to?
is his play? What is playing?
What are you responding
It's
to?
not true.
What are you
disagree.
responding
I
to?
can't
How is he
say
playing as a
What is
natural
not
center
true?
forward?
Who's
What
playing
are you
as a
responding
Did
to?
Vini play as a natural
He
center
plays
forward?
it's through the middle.
What are you responding to?
That is not the same as playing as a natural center forward.
Agreed.
But
It's
he
the
said he
same
played at a
so-
center forward.
No, so don't say that.
Who
When
But he
said,
didn't say he plays as
Listen,
a
you are
center forward.
manufacturing things
I'm
and
not
you are
manufacturing
responding to
things. You
them.
are making a comparison, and the comparisons they are not
that's
parallel.
not
So you
what
can't
you
make
know.
that
What are you
comparison.
even responding
You
to?
can't make that. You can't say that when Vini did it, you should give him
Vini
credit because
played-
Mbappe
Vini
didn't do it.
played
It's not the
further
same
out the
thing.
pitch.
But Vini played
In
out
a
of
very
his
central
natural
role.
position. You have to
Yes.
give him credit
So-
for that.
So here's the
So
thing.
what Haaland is doing,
Look,
what Havertz is doing, is the same thing.
Sijo, we will
It's
stay
not
on
the
course.
same.
Thank you. So you can't compare the two.
No,
I
I'm
beg
saying,
you. You
but
can't.
credit
But
to
why are you
You
assuming
can,
that's
no,
what I've
you
said
can
and you're
credit
responding to
Vini
it?
without. You don't need to add the two.
I will,
If
and I'm going
No,
to.
but
You
how
can.
how
You
can you
can.
compare apples
let
to
me-
oranges?
No, you
One
can't.
at a
Let me
time.
make the
How
case.
can you
Let him
compare?
finish.
Let him finish.
So here's the thing. We have seen teams when the two of them, when their teams have required them to play further up the pitch in very central positions, sometimes hold up play, draw teammates into play and all. And here's the thing. When we say draw teammates into play, there's not a universally accepted definition for that because we've seen how other players with very different skill sets have played in that position. The service will not always come long for you to bring the ball down.
Your movement.
Your
will
movement
create-
sometimes will create that space. So they'll
Exactly.
play that ball into feet into you. You get that ball. Sometimes weave your way around defenders and create that space. Sometimes you hold the ball up, pass the ball and combine with teammates and become the player that someone bounces the ball off you
And then
to do that. Vinicius has not only shown a capability or competence for that, but also the smartness to interpret the space and in each game state, what is required for him to do.
Exactly.
So there are situations where someone will come up short, and that's what Mbappe is very guilty of. He will drop too deeper than necessary and actually demand for the ball. Sometimes get involved with play. When we've seen Vini play, and I'm using last week's game because it is fresh in all of our minds, our memory. He realizes that there's no point in when he has 20, 30 yards of space to run into, calling for that ball and trying to play with the ball. Get the ball into space for me and let me do
Let
the
him go.
business. Mbappe and his fans may not like it, but the reality is this. Whoever is coaching Real Madrid next season is going to look at, in every game state, when I have to play someone as a center forward or in those positions, whatever the nomenclature is, when the game requires that I put one of them in that advanced position and try to change the dynamics and offer some solutions for me, between himself and Vinicius Jr., who does that for me better? Right? So at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make is this. I don't think the dynamics of Mbappe walking into that team and being the one that the coach is forced to adjust and shuffle the pack around holds like it was a year ago.
Yeah, but
Vinicius has grown and the quality is shown us in the past year. And this is a season where
and in big games, he's delivering it.
this is a season where he went, 2 months or so
Yeah,
without
2
the goals.
months, yeah.
That he has shown that beyond just the numbers, beyond just the goals on paper, there's something definitive about what he can offer. And he can play in those central areas that Mbappe is not very comfortable. That is someone that you can look at and work with and say, if push comes to shove, in the games that
He's
matter,
better off.
you are more comfortable trusting him into that position. And so this idea that Vinicius was going to be sacrificed or he'll become the second guy, people need to revise it. Mbappe is not going to be, say, a pushover. obviously he's Kylian Mbappe. Because of his reputation and his skill set and the value he brings to the team, he's going to play. But it is very possible that you're going to see two superstars.
Right.
And not Vinicius having to settle for a diminished role in that team.
Well,
because
if you need a manager to be able to work some harmony amongst superstars,
There's
you've got,
exactly.
you've got the perfect
the
man to
player
do
that
it.
I think will,
Daniel was
the
disagreeing
player that
with
I think
something.
will suffer has to be Jude Bellingham.
All right, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that will take us somewhere else. Because I personally feel maybe Rodrigo will suffer even more. But you are disagreeing with something. I don't know if it's explained and cleared.
Look, it's the whole comparison thing. Assuming that you can't tell me that Vinicius Jr. this season, at any point in time, has been given a role half close to what Mbappe was asked to do or has been asked to do this season. What we saw against Barcelona, what we saw against Dortmund. It's a completely different role. Vinicius Jr. literally has the freedom together with Rodrigo to literally move around. The entire front space is for them. He doesn't start. He's not supposed to come through the middle, drop deep, pick up the... He can move to the left-hand channel. He can move to the right-hand channel, especially from the left-hand space, right-half channel. He's not playing as a center forward. Mbappe was playing as a center forward. What Gonzalo Ramos did in the 60-65 minutes he was on the pitch, that's what Mbappe was required to do against Barcelona. That's what we're seeing him trying to do against
I don't think
Barcelona.
that's what he was doing.
That's what he was doing.
I don't think so.
That's what he was doing.
I
He
don't think
just,
so.
And
he
see-
just can't do that.
I don't think so.
Vinicius Jr., if he's asked to do that job, will not be able to do it. It is just not in their skill set. It's as simple as that.
I don't
But which
think
coach
Mbappe-
would
I don't
even
think-
ask them
I don't
to
think
do
that?
Mbappe was doing what
A coach
what
that
Ramos
is
was doing.
that is Luis Enrique. Now, if you know Luis Enrique, you know that look, he's one of the when it comes to in fact after his
Dogmatic.
time with
Roma.
no
Barca.
yes that what they call it Messi, Neymar, Suarez.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've seen him have a front three that is fluid. The only time. He's so if he's giving you a job, you are supposed to do the job, even when you're supposed to pass. Everything is mechanical. You could see it in what he was doing. How can Mbappe and Bakola be playing and Dembele? And at no point in time did we see these guys try to switch play, test out. If Dembele is not seeing top against it, why can't Mbappe come and try? Why can't we switch around? If you are not succeeding here, why can't you? He's so strict
is
to what
coaching.
he's so strict to what he
he's
does,
more or less
and that's why
insistent on-
that
But
is why
wait. You mentioned Bakola, Mbappe, Dembele. If Dembele starts down the middle, Bakola is down the left, Dembele is on the right.
They stays there today.
Because
Yeah, to the end.
because Mbappe going to switch with Dembele, Mbappe can't play that side. He's shown it. But
But
it's not possible. Bakola going down the middle for Mbappe to come wide. We know Bakola can't go down the middle.
why
It's
can't
about-
why
it's the
can't
profile- it's
why
the
can't
profile
he
of
players.
why
You
can't he
see-
go?
you see,
Why
It's not in his game.
no, it's about mobility.
But it's Mbappe's game.
No, it's not. I'm saying.
Thank
no,
you.
I'm
So,
saying. I'm
you see,
not saying. I'm not
What
saying.
I'm saying, no,
you're not getting what
my
I'm saying.
premise was that
Yes.
that idea that Vinicius Jr. played better through the middle than him.
So
I don't-
Mbappe
he
can't
did.
be
I
fluid
don't-
because it's not in his game.
No, no.
Even in France,
What-
Mbappe is not fluid.
What
He doesn't go
Mbappe-
to
no.
Even in
Relax,
France,
you
Mbappe
wait,
is not
you wait,
fluid.
you
I'm saying
That
what
one-
Vinicius Jr. was asked to do or has been doing. It's not something that
Because
Mbappe can
naturally,
do.
Vinicius is more versatile across the front three
That's
than
not about
Mbappe.
being
And the
versatile.
coaches, yes.
It's about a specific role. It's about a specific role.
Yeah.
Vinicius Jr.
What
will not
Piqué
be able
is
to
trying
do
to
what
say
Mbappe
that
is
Vinicius
asked to do
Junior
at
has
PSG.
been given the freedom
If Mbappe
to
had
play
that
a
freedom to be
role,
drifting
but
around,
to play within his strength.
I agree.
Mbappe under Luis Enrique, I agree with
it's
what
very
he's saying.
static.
He's very look. Go and look against Barcelona.
Yes.
He's staying. He was in the middle throughout, both legs.
Yeah.
First leg against Borussia Dortmund, he stayed there throughout.
He's trying to pin
On-
center back.
on-
I've never seen
on-
Vinicius
on
Jr. trying to
Tuesday,
do that.
For the first 60-something minutes, he stays on the left throughout. Again, the coach is not allowing them to play. We all know that that's the strength of the team. What I didn't appreciate about Luis Enrique was the fact that you are ignoring your actual or your main focal point to success, and you are asking them to do something elsewhere. You repeat the sequence several times.
It's not
elsewhere.
working.
It's not working. Bring it to the main man.
Okay, enough
The
of
man,
that.
I'm coming. The main man raises his hand.
Yeah.
You could clearly see from the clip several times in that first half in particular.
Give me the ball.
He's calling for them. Come and let's go through this way. Come and and it became very clear that anytime they went to him or through his end, there was danger. Now, let me comment on the game. Look, Borussia Dortmund must be credited.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's
For
forget
that
about the
one.
losers.
Let's
Let's talk about the finalists.
Look, I've always said
Obi lose more in 1 minute.
I've always said that. You remember when we did the analysis before the first leg?
Yeah, yeah.
I said Dortmund needed to take some form of advantage to France.
Yeah.
No matter how slim it is, they need to go there with an advantage. And they got that 1-0 win in the first leg. Look at them. Did you ever think they would play the way they play?
I didn't imagine they
For
would.
a team
Yeah.
that more or less just cannot seem to keep a clean sheet. Defensively, they were super. I've never seen them play like that in the past 5 years.
Schlotterberg, Hummels,
Very, very. Matt Hummels reminded everybody.
Emre
in midfield.
Brandt.
Look, Brandt.
And
Sancho
and Adeyemi.
And the boy from Chelsea, that
Maatsen,
left-footed boy,
Maatsen, yeah.
he was absolutely brilliant.
He was brilliant.
But you want to credit the coach. In that first half, they knew the areas, the zone they needed to what?
Yeah, to mark.
To mark. You could see they were not worried about pressing the ball high up the pitch. They dropped very deep and they knew when and where and how to apply their pressure. What even made it delicious was the fact that when they took that 1-0 lead and he made that tactical switch and they went back five. Look, if you are a technical man and you are watching the cohesion, the communication, and the clear understanding
and the outlet,
look, it was absolutely brilliant. And for me, that is coaching. He looked at what Luis Enrique, you see, he didn't even wait for Enrique to do what he was obviously supposed to do. He said, I know this is what you do, so I will prepare myself in waiting. So when Luis did all those attacking changes, the man was already set. And the inclusion of Sule to that back line, these are all international players. German international for that matter. What that meant that in the air, they would deal with every ball. On the ground, they always had an extra man in the defensive line cover to block whatever PSG would throw at them. So therefore, the long shot, 35 yards, 40 yards, then it strike the back, then the Paris people, hey, goal! No, you don't score goals like that. Because the pole itself, like I said, it doesn't move. It is very, very well static. If you kick it well, it will enter. What Luis Enrique didn't do well, that is where I agree with DK. Look, when your team is chasing the game like that, what you cannot afford to do is to restrict the movement of any of your attacking players. Because if you restrict them, you virtually play it into the hands of the defense. They know he's here. So once he's here, we'll deal with him there. But once he moves, somebody comes, another person goes. And there were times where I didn't see where he had so many defenders in the game. Yeah. There were times where, he's a proper
How many
coach.
defenders did he have in the game? Hakimi is one of the best attacking defenders.
I said earlier on, I said he doesn't have sense. I apologize.
Nuno Mendes is an attacking. He's actually not a great defender. He's attacking.
But he stuck to
yesterday.
He stuck to.
It wasn't necessarily
center backs. He stuck to them.
Yeah, Beraldo and Marquinhos. Marquinhos is a goal threat.
It wasn't necessarily the profile, but more the approach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The first one for me was that after about 30 minutes, I knew they weren't going to get anything because pay attention to the frequency with which Dortmund had possession. They simply pass the ball
through and then
Schlotterbeck, and then he goes long to the outlet. Your pre-match analysis, if you want to press, one of the press triggers, in fact, the players you target has to be the least comfortable on the ball.
Exactly.
Between Matamos and Schlotterbeck, Hammers will kill you with his passes if you decide to press him.
Yes.
No matter what you do, he won't lose that ball.
Schlotterbeck is a great carrier of the ball.
But I'm saying that between of the back line, in the last 8 weeks, we've seen that Ryerson can carry the ball and cover a lot of ground.
Yes.
He can come short and combine very well. Maatsen can do same.
Yes.
Hammers is perhaps the best passer in that team. If there is anyone in that build-up,
target the weakest
it's Schlotterbeck.
No, listen. The fact that Schlotterbeck is not as good as Hammers doesn't make him any worse. He's great with the ball. You can't target him.
So I'll come to the point.
He's talking about his passing.
Let me just finish.
And defensively, it is very risky when Schlotterbeck knows that he's being pressed to attempt to carry the ball.
And I think you guys are underestimating him.
More to the point. We saw what he could do if he had freedom in the first leg. Look, I guarantee you, There's no way Schlotterbeck hits that many diagonals in the final against Madrid. It won't happen.
They will not allow it.
It won't, because, and you see, even if it is not Schlotterbeck and the tactic changes to Ian Martin hitting those diagonals, Carlo will respond to that. The frequency with which they had that outlet to hit those long, it didn't make sense to me. Because at a point, you got a sense that
maybe before we more or less end on this,
to wrap it up,
the fact that he did not demand any defensive responsibility from his front three was amazing to me.
And that was what I was coming to.
Was amazing to me. Look, the final beckons. That is the final. It is there. You've lost the first leg, 1-0. You've come home. Everybody. Who is Mbappe? He doesn't want to
chase them around the pitch.
Who is Dembele? They don't
Mbappe
want
was
to
tracking back and winning corners.
Oh.
No. Come on, man.
You could always tell it was
He
half
actually
assist.
did.
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying
Mbappe was defending.
Mbappe was I'm surprised that you guys said
Mbappe was defending.
even Dembele was defending.
Defending how?
No, they were not pressing.
PSG had a lot of the ball.
in those areas.
PSG had a lot
But
of the
that's the
ball.
point.
So easily pass the ball through
What do
them.
you expect?
So if you are I'm coming.
Because PSG were not aggressively pressing. Doesn't mean they were not in
that's
shape.
what
But that was the issue.
That was the issue. If they were pressing, where is the coordinator press?
Ah,
Where is
Sicho.
the anticipation?
Coach,
Where is the
let me
follow-up?
ask this. Time is far gone, but we'll wrap it up very soon. PSG were not aggressively pressing, but they were very comfortable because they were picking positions where
I didn't see them that
No,
comfortable.
Sicho, they were not under
Sicho,
pressure.
you were trailing.
comfortable.
Sicho, you were trailing.
You were trailing.
The
So you
rates of
needed
the
to
game
do
has changed.
extra.
It's not
You were
0-0.
trailing. No.
It's not
They were
0-0.
comfortable in certain zones.
That is what I'm
They
saying.
couldn't find space anywhere up top.
That is no. So there are two things. He's talking about the defensive because, of course, the only time the team defense is when they are off the
But
ball.
Sicho, he doesn't need to explain the benefits of
I'm
pressing
saying
that
when
high
we're
to
off
you.
the
That's
ball.
it.
No.
Mhm.
I'm saying that off the ball, PSG didn't face threats from Dortmund. Dortmund's balls were running across the face of goal and everything. The problem with PSG is when they had the ball, they didn't find solutions to that.
So,
Dortmund-
so
So that was
in games
not
like
about
this,
even on
pressing.
the- even on the issue of
PSG had a lot of the ball.
Sicho, in games like this, you need to force the mistake out of your opponent. That's fundamental.
Yeah.
You need to. How do you do that? It's by pressing, anticipating, coordinating the press.
Mm.
So if you are saying that PSG were not facing any trouble when Dortmund had the ball, they also didn't
attempt
make
to.
Dortmund to be uncomfortable. Dortmund too were very because they had a lead to protect.
Yeah, they were very.
So therefore, what are you doing to force them to concede?
No,
Nothing.
Charlie, Luis Enrique has.
It didn't make
serious
sense.
issues.
Anyway,
It
for
didn't
me,
make sense.
for me, to wrap it all up, for me, I think the excuses for Mbappe, especially in the second leg, is way too much.
No, he
He
flopped.
played-
As for
wait.
flopping there, he flopped.
Yes,
That one there,
he played in his most comfortable zone. He just wasn't able to get himself involved in the game enough. And I'm not sold on the fact that he was restricted and couldn't drop to pick the ball and carry the ball and get into zones where
That's
he
not
could
his
affect the
style.
game more.
Put the ball into space and let him run on.
There was no space for the balls to get into the back of that Dortmund team. So you come short and drop people because you are Mbappe.
But there was
I didn't
space.
see in
They
behind.
were not using.
In behind.
But no, you see.
No, this I'm not even.
No, on the right hand side, there were several times.
They were not in behind.
Several times.
They were not getting in behind.
Hakimi and Dembele
were
kept
not
on
getting-
overhitting passes.
No.
The space was there. The execution
They were
was
not.
poor.
They were not
But
necessarily
Sicho
getting.
space was
is
there.
talking about something
But I'm
else.
talking.
The
Absolutely.
space wasn't behind them.
It wasn't behind
It
them.
was. They were
No, it was in
overhitting
front
passes.
of
Go
them.
and check that
No,
first
no,
half.
no.
It happened
They were
countless
overhitting
times.
passes because the
Countless
distance between
times.
the line and the last man
First and
was short.
foremost. First and
So the
foremost.
ball will cross the line. They were practicing it, but it was
Anytime
short.
they came to
It was
Mbappe,
poor passes.
anytime they
It
came
was
to
short.
Mbappe, they only came to Mbappe when Dortmund had the defensive line cover. The man trying to press Mbappe.
When Mbappe had the
But
ball, he wasn't
the-
effective.
No.
When he had the few times he had the
I'm
ball.
not giving
for flopping
excuses
there.
for
So what are you defending?
As
No.
for flopping there,
We are
that one-
looking at.
that
We
one
are
is
looking
cool.
at.
Yes.
But the point is, you can't have
Sicho.
this game and Mbappe.
Sicho,
You are
we are
not trying
looking
to
at
play
this.
through him.
We
No,
are
but when
looking
the
at
ball
the
came to you,
situation.
Take the
We
ball to
are
his side. We don't
looking at
care.
the situation where if I'm the coach, that is why if you go to Argentina, when Ronaldo was at Real Madrid, was at Man United, Messi at Barcelona, go, that is my strength. Goodness me.
You pass
That is
through
my
him.
focal point. Come on, everybody. Why is it that in the French national
Messi
team,
has it.
they are told, 1-2, give it to him. If you
Anyway.
don't give it to come and sit down.
All right. So
Let's
that is
go
our
on to
episode on the
say
Champions
you pass
League.
the
review.
Messi is there.
It
You can
is.
say you won't pass
You
the
pass the ball. Charlie
Gentleman.
serious.
Uyale.
Right. So the Champions League final, which is set, we will surely have a preview to the
Dembele.
final. It is at Wembley, where Real Madrid are going to be playing against Borussia Dortmund. I hope you enjoyed the episode on the review of the semi-final second leg. Real Madrid are through. Dortmund at you as well. Drop all your comments, but remember to subscribe to the platform and then like it. Share it with all your friends. Let them hook onto it and drop all the comments. We'll be reading them the next time we are here. We appreciate you. Guys, thank you very much at you. Thank you, Danny K. Thank you, Coach Nimley. And it's bye for now.